2008, I got a call from Dick Pieper suggesting that the Greenleaf Center should establish a scholarship program for new scholars who would be doing research on servant leadership. Dick at the time was chairman of the board of the Greenleaf Center, and I was the CEO. I really liked the idea. It showed great foresight. 2008, the research was just beginning to really get started. We're just really beginning to have liftoff. So I think it showed great foresight. I think it also showed great generosity because Dick proposed to pay for the program. I don't know how many of you had a phone call like that. Here's a new program I'd like to set up, I'll pay for it. It's a great phone call. John Burkhardt, who was also on the Greenleaf Center board, offered the services of the University of Michigan for the administrative support to manage the money in the selection process. A group of scholars were called to serve on the selection committee. The details were worked out. It went to the board of the Greenleaf Center in October in 2008 when it was approved. And it was my privilege to sign the contract that started the program shortly thereafter. Dick, we thank you for your foresight and your generosity, and we look forward to your comments on the impact of the Greenleaf Scholars Program during the last 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent because we are right on time. It started at 3. Let me just begin by what we asked for. There was a draft on, I actually have a little file, if anybody's interested, electronic file of this. I don't know that it's completely put together, but it's pretty darn close. So on July 17th, sent in 7/24, we said, we're searching for a team of future servant leaders and thinkers that can move Greenleaf's work to a new level of understanding. This is the vision. We hope that some of these scholars would incorporate this into their life's journey and lead society to a better place through their thinking, teaching, nurturing, serving, and leading. That was the assignment. Generally, the idea would be to assist in driving the process. A group of institutions that is clearly associated with servant leadership. The scholars would be from many of these institutions. A rubric of judging the quality of this work that clearly includes free constraints and that message is explicitly communicated. We are looking for Robert Greenleaf, Nelson Mandela's, Mother Teresa's, Mahatma Gandhi, William Wilberforce, Dorothy Sayers as the thought leaders. This would be the basis to network, acknowledge, encourage, give them a jump start, allow a platform to be established. I believe that the right person, given a modest start, will find their own way. In our company, we sometimes refer to these as servant leaders or tiebreakers. No matter what, they always make it happen and make it happen correctly. As thought leaders associating with each other, history says breakthrough occurs. Think back through history. It's groups of people, they make it happen. A stipend of so much, I visualize this being explicitly connected with the Greenleaf Center. Milestones. Establish a consortium, rubric, sponsoring institutions. For 2 years, award possibly 5 scholars each year. At the end of 2 years, review the process, make changes, consider increasing it to 10 scholars. At the end of 3 years, consider increasing it to 5 years. At the end of 5 years, if it appears that the purpose is being carried out, set it up in an endowment in perpetuity. Now, all of that has been done. You've done it. You've done it. Now, where did I come from to do this, you know? I'm an electrician. I really kind of practice leadership, starting at 5. I can actually go through my life. Crazy, I mean, I wasn't in charge, Billy. I don't feel that I'm in charge. I for certain do not have all the answers. This is a complex universe. I have plenty to do just in this galaxy, all of us. And anybody that thinks they know how the whole thing works. When I was younger, I said, my job, I have a stewardship approach. My job is to, I'm a grain of sand on the beach, and my job is to polish my grain of sand. And I know that every grain of sand connects to all other grains of sand, and it can, you've seen pictures of things like this. So then I started sailing the oceans in the world, 4 weeks at a time, over 20 years. And I looked up at the skies at night. There's absolutely no intruding light. You look up at the sky, it is absolutely ablaze with light. There's no dark spots. And I thought I was a grain of sand. What? Pieper, what's with you? Goofball. So I said, I went, it's actually changed. It used to be a molecule, add no molecule, proton, neutron, plus, minus. Then it's by 2 more layers below. I can't keep track of it. And some of them, they're not even too sure what they are, but they got it. They don't know what it does. So for me to think I got the answer is just absurd. But to be a good steward of what I've been blessed with, and I have been blessed. Great parents, not easy, not hard. They reminded me I'm just a normal person. Because I'm 11 years old, I said, "You think I'm special?" My mother said, "No, you're just a regular person." And so, at 5, she put me on a plane and sent me to Seattle by myself. You'll find that, I think that picture's in that book. So, I'm just a steward. My time, what I'm associated with, my peer group, my resources. And so at about, I think our kids were maybe 11, 12, something like that. Sue and I, at my encouragement, she agreed that all things that we've acquired in life is going to go back to the community. And the problem was, and so we told our kids this, and the youngest one said, "What?" She's still saying that kind of stuff, but she doesn't say about that. She adopted 4 kids from Ethiopia, so you know where she is. Or God calling, we call it. So I've been happily married for 58 or 50, going on 59 years. 17 months, I'll be 90. I've had my stuff like everybody else my age has. That's normal. A blessing, because the oxygen keeps coming in every day. Life is very, very rich. I'll tell you sometime about a book that I wrote for my grandchildren. Not now. So earlier in this journey, I was in scouting, and well, even slightly earlier, a young man was introduced to me at our church, and he just ran around in a circle, maybe a 2-foot circle, literally in a coffee hour, just went around, kept running around in a circle. And we had a Princeton youth pastor, and he didn't do sure, he knew he had to get him out of this house that he was in, which is his grandmother, who always, if he didn't make his bed right, he slept in the basement. It was just her and him. And if he didn't make his bed right, she'd call the police. He was born to her adopted daughter, raised in a Whitefish Bay, top school district in the state. And she got pregnant, had a baby. It was the era you get married. And the dad of the baby worked at Allen Bradley, very nice place to work, wouldn't get any better in fact. But he was disciplined by his dad with a monkey wrench, and when his baby cried on the floor, he would kick it around. Became spastic, the mother didn't know what to do. That was the one running around in a circle. Now with him, I learned a lot about myself, and I decided to become friends. And so I was with him, and then he went to a group home. He learned how to read and write. He couldn't be in a classroom. He'd crawl around under the chairs, and he just wasn't able. But after 40 plus years, he called me one day, and there's a long story to this. He called me one day and he said, Mr. Pieper, and he spoke like a man. All those years, he was, oh, Mr. Pieper, dude. Mr. Pieper, this is the first time in my life I've ever felt like a man. So he taught me a lot of things. I was blessed. Also very frustrated. I tried to help my contemporary stuff, none of them worked. But the agape part did. And his whole family knows that. I never said I love them, nothing, but that they tell me they know. So that's how I came into this. So I said to myself, I'm in scouting, learning for life. I said, these kids never get what they need at home. The mother admitted maybe 10 years ago, I've never made one correct decision in my life. And I gave her a bunch to make. Turned them all down. She inherited $500,000, lost it all. Not lost it all, it was taken out of her. The low people running around in our society. So I said, schools, in one place these kids go, and they last until maybe 9th grade at the most. They probably don't get through 9th grade. A couple of them will get special training and get a GED. And GEDs are not easy in this state anymore. So I went into Learning for Life because in every classroom they were getting moral development. I ran into a guy who told a Harris statement, and kids that are in scouting for more than 5 years, there's a significant difference in the way those kids operate that are in scouting. We're 3 generations in scouting. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get this in all classrooms. So I ended up being the national chairman of Learning for Life. We had a rubric come in. We took every grade level and walked it all through, built it all up, sent it back out. And with that, I got exposed to Marvin Berkowitz. He drew me into the national organization. I became president of that. And then, while that's going on, we sell the company, our biggest asset, to the employees for 10% of the value. But they can't sell it other than, the only way they can sell stock is to the company based on the same book value. They can't merge it, they can't liquidate it, they can't sell it. I think I said that. What else is there? Merge. They can't get rid of it without our foundation saying we agree, and everybody on the board has signed a statement we would never agree to that. So that's a noble experiment, we call it. And so that's the company running over there. Pretty big sized company. They've had a horrible 5 years, a bad 5 years, horrible. And in contemporary terms, I say horrible, but other people may not. They're surviving. They got a lot of work to do. And that's just an experiment over there. And they would call themselves now using the golden rule. They use the term servant leadership, but they don't use the traits. They don't talk about moral and virtue development, but they use the golden rule. And everybody in the company feels that because a lot of those folks have been around for a while. So that's how I came into this. And then in the process of making an employee-owned company, I called a company and a guy named Lowe, and I wanted to know, we had 12 companies in the world we looked at that were owned by the employees before ESOPs. In other words, 50 or more years. Jack Lowe's company was one of them. We talked, he said, you should be in the Greenleaf Center. What is that? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. He said, I'm going to make you a member. That was the conclusion of the conversation. Took me a couple of years, but I got there. Somebody sent me Greenleaf's first book, way back, paper. It was a paperback, but it was thick. I have it on my shelf now. And I went through there and I underlined everything. And I told my secretary, give 5 more of these, underline it, and give it to the executive group, and we're going to talk about this. And of course, one of the executives, don't you ever give me a book, I'll decide what I'm going to underline, because that's kind of, you could say those things, it's okay. Okay, I won't do that again. We all agreed that's what we were doing. And that's what we were trying to do. Segi's book came out, the Learning Organization, I think it was called, and we read that. Yep, that's what we're doing. So we were pretty darn progressive early, grew up in a very tough environment, this town, this state, where everybody was in cahoots except us, and I was so naive, I still am actually. I didn't know what was happening. Federal government convicted a lot of people, then they gave information to state government convicted the other guys, so everybody got convicted except 2 companies. And so in that operation, we ended up, I gotta look at my clock here. We ended up with all of the stuff that we've ended up with. The next president that came, CEO that came on board, he was wholesale. Greenleaf bought books, take the whole company to the conferences. So that's how we got where we are. That's how I got connected with Greenleaf, became the chairman, did my thing there, and met all these beautiful, wonderful people. I thank you for the opportunity of serving.